Hey, welcome to the Ministry Mix podcast, where we're bringing you real conversations for the souls and strategies of ministry leaders. I'm Phil Gifford, and I'm joined by my co-host, Richard Pope.
Hello.
Whether you're a seasoned pastor or ministry leader, or just stepping into leadership for the first time,
Hi.
we're here to share stories, insights, and practical tips to help you lead strategically while caring for your soul.
Yep.
Each episode will dive into topics that matter for your mission, your calling, and your personal growth. We have a guest again joining us, Chris Ford.
Repeat guest.
Yo.
Yeah, we got Chris coming in for a second episode with us.
Because no one else would come on.
Yeah, you guys are pretty lame. You need some better guests.
If you haven't listened to the episode that's probably posted about Chris's pastoral training here at Canvas, be sure to check that out for some context on Chris. Today we're doing a very different conversation, talking about event planning for the ministry leader.
What's cool is our other episode with Chris, he's talking about learning. This is something Chris is really like an expert in.
We're going to learn from him.
Yeah, man, our church
Hopefully.
has been blessed immensely by his, like we did this huge Christmas Eve party thing and we just let Chris do it. Like, It's just Chris. It might not be worship. It's Chris though. Whenever we have an event or a logistical issue, we just give it to Chris. So our church has benefited from this. So I'm excited for our listeners and their ministries to benefit as well.
It's funny, just to almost preface this before we go into, in many ways, pastors have to be utility knives. Like we do a lot of different, we do event planning, tech, social media, outreach, preaching. Like there's a lot of things we have to be involved in. But I bet there are professionals in your church that do some of these things that we can learn from and leverage, and it makes the church better. And so if you are a ministry leader, there is a good chance that there is some sort of event planning in your calling and your function at the church. And so we need to do it well.
Can I say something?
Obviously.
I don't agree.
Our podcast, not your podcast. Wait, all right, my podcast. It's our podcast. Yes, you can talk.
Okay, I'm going to talk now if you stop. How about you just shut up?
If you need me to, bro.
Listen, there's some methodologies from Rick Warren that, you could look at our church online and realize these are not, like, we don't line up with.
Yeah.
One thing he said is that most small churches would benefit from hiring an event planner to come for 4 weeks and to help make their Sunday better.
Yeah.
And not to make Sunday an event, not to make Sunday you don't have to be attractional to realize that there's certain things that can increase the quality of excellency in your church.
Yeah.
Like right now we just merged, so we're figuring out parking. How do we do parking well in a city downtown environment? That's those are the type of logistical questions that we've benefited from. So I would say every pastor is ultimately an event planner because every Sunday morning should be a party celebrating Jesus.
People are coming to a specific thing at a specific time that has a structure.
That's called an event.
It's an event.
Yeah.
Whether you call it worship gathering or service, it's an event.
Or an experience. That's a whole episode. I hate that.
Okay, well, we'll move on to that. But we have an expert that has not talked yet while Richard and I talk about event planning.
He did say hi.
I did say hi.
He did say hi. All right, Chris, let's get into some conversation on event planning.
Yeah.
As you look at churches, and particularly you've been in churches, you have a ministry background, you've been to Liberty, you've seen churches.
Yeah.
What are some of the common biggest mistakes that churches can make when thinking through and planning events?
Yeah. Number one always is the flow of the event, and not so much like order of service for an event, but where people are going, when, how are they getting there, who's moving them there, how much space do they have to get there. I feel like with a lot of church events, everybody tries to do like a drive-through style event where it's like, the people are walking and they go to one area and then they grab whatever's there and they go to the next area and they grab something there and they go to the next area and they do this. But then there's like no way out. So then everybody starts like bumping into each other, or people skip the line. And now you have like traffic jams in what small space you do have to use. So I think flow of an event is a huge mistake that a lot of churches make. I also think overproduction or sometimes like over preparedness to the point that if something doesn't go exactly right at the exact time that they think it's supposed to happen, that it just throws the rest of the plan off the rails.
Yeah.
It's good to be prepared. It's bad to be over prepared to the point where if there's a mistake, you can't move forward with the event.
It's kind of like, you ever do like a church skit or like in drama and someone is like, I know you've never done it.
Losers.
We don't do it. We've never done it either. But like I taught a lot of kids musicals back at some of my previous worship churches jobs. And there are certain kids that like, if there's a script here and and the guy before him like says the wrong word.
Yeah.
And they're like, they will stop and wait until that word. Like they don't know what to do. Like you have at any given point, event logistics require some sort of improvisation and adaptation.
I went to a church recently. It was about a year ago. Actually, I had dinner with you, and then I went to that church when we got Thai food, and then I went to a church.
Yeah.
I was preaching, and I went to this church. It was
spicy Thai food.
It was a night service. It was spicy for you. You were bleeding. It was a night service, and I go there, and they're using multi-tracks. Which I'm not, we don't use them at Canvas, I don't think at all. I don't know if I'm against them. I don't really care about them, but they were using multi-tracks. They had a full band, but they just really wanted this like techno-y sound that they had a track for. And the track misfired like 18 times. I'm not kidding. And they kept starting it, turning it off, starting it, turning it off. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I know that drummer's good. I just heard him lead the last 3 songs. He could just click, click, click.
And play it.
And start the song. But instead, they just kept going back and back and forth. I just thought about that, Chris, when you're talking about overproducing. Like you can try so hard for quality that I think you actually lose the ability to adapt, which I think it makes it more good.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Also, just don't. If your click tracks don't work, just stop.
Just go. Just go with it.
Maybe one time you try again. 18. I counted. Our executive pastor Keith was with me, and he said, "Are they ever going to play the frickin' song?" It was 2 minutes of them just trying to get these tracks. No explanation, no joking. Just click, and the lights were connected, so the lights would start flashing, and then it would go black, and then the lights would start flashing.
At some point, improvise.
I hope this guy never listens to the podcast.
So mistakes are not thinking through the flow and movement of people. Not thinking overproducing to the point where it cripples you in
18 times on your track
in time. Give us one more mistake that you've seen.
People try to do events by themselves.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Have a strong team around you. Like, don't be afraid to delegate. Being somebody who does events for a day job, that's one thing that I've gotten really, really good at over the years is find people who have strengths, find what they are, and then delegate those people to do the things that they are good at.
Gotcha.
You don't have to be in this thing alone. You don't have to put on your Christmas Eve service by yourself. You don't have to plan out every detail. You don't have to press every button. You don't have to move Santa from here to there or bring the gifts up from downstairs or whatever it is you're doing. You have hands in your church, use them. Gotcha.
No, that's a really good, that kind of leads actually into the next thing I was going to say is there are some mistakes you can make, not having a team, all this overproducing stuff. Let's flip it now to what are some marks of an event that you think is ready to go, that is well planned? I mean, obviously the things are going to happen, but what are some key elements of a well planned, effective church event? Yeah. I'm going to actually zoom out a little bit. And sure. This isn't just for church events. This is just events in general. Yeah. If you haven't heard the last episode that I was on, my day job is planning events for the city of Salisbury. I plan events for 200 to 300 people, 2,000 to 3,000 people, and then 3-day music festivals for 45 to 60,000 people. So events are literally what I live and breathe. It is. It's hot. This is what you do all day long. This is what I do. So
hey, I got him for free. Ministry leader be jealous.
Yeah. I do this for free for Canvas. Yay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out, and when we have an event that wants to come in and partner with us, because we have an awesome event team, like these are the 6 things that I tell them to do also. So, take these if you're planning events outside of church, if you're planning events in church, it all works. First one is clarify the purpose and goals, right? That's your first thing that you should do. You have an idea, you have a brainstorm. Oh, I want to do an event. Clarify what your purpose is, make it super, super clear, and then set goals that you want to reach, and make them obtainable goals. How many people do you want to reach? What impact do you want to have? What's the experience you want the user to feel? So that's step number 1. Number 2, and this is the one that a lot of people always struggle with, plan and budget wisely, right? That's a big thing. Budget is a big thing when it comes to events. It's easy for it to explode, right? It's so easy for it to explode because here's the thing that every person does when they plan an event. They have one small idea that starts out as, oh, okay, so whatever reason, we want to have paper airplanes at our event, right? The theme is airplane. The theme is fly away.
That's hot.
Right. So Richard loves everything you're talking about right now.
Yeah, I'm just salivating.
That's right. So say the theme of the event is fly away. So they start out with paper airplanes. But then somebody comes up and says, "Oh, but like, what if we got like an airplane simulator that kids can ride in?" Great. So that's an extra $4,000. But even better, like, what if we had like one of those planes that have a banner that like fly across the church that says fly away? Well, yeah, then that's like $10,000. But
what if we just give away a plane to everybody that shows up?
Yeah, what if we did like a 50-50 raffle and then like the person wins a plane? Like, but that's how like, that's a very dramatic version, but that's how ideas snowball, and people don't always associate costs with those snowballing ideas.
Yeah.
So come up with a super solid plan of, and this is logistical. So like bigger picture, like in my world, this is things like porta potties and road closures and who's going to be manning the entrances and your police and your fire details and your food trucks and all of those kind of things. Now, if you're doing a church event that entails all of those, good for you. That's amazing. Yeah. A lot of churches plan big block parties that are very similar to that. Mm-hmm. So that's what that planning portion is. That's that logistical piece. The stuff that is like the meat and potatoes of your event, you know, your programming and what's happening on the stage and all that kind of stuff. That's all at the back burner. The stuff that really matters if you want to have a solid event is those logistical pieces, those foundations. You have to have bathrooms. You need to make sure your people are safe. So that is either police and fire presence, EMS presence, that is closing down roads, making sure that, you know, no cars can drive in or out of your footprint. That is making sure that people are fed and hydrated. So food vendors, all that kind of stuff. And then the other part is putting budgetary like numbers to all of those things and staying within a budget. Yeah. You can plan a really, really good event on a really cheap budget, but you have to remember, and this goes back to step one, remember what your goal and your mission is of that event, right? You can still achieve your goal and mission without breaking the bank. Yeah.
I think that's good. I think that's a good pivot or point to think about for ministry leaders. A lot of events we plan at our church and in every church, like you plan events that involve kids and families. And if a family comes into any event, whether it's an Easter egg hunt or a Christmas event or kids ministry, and they feel not safe, you mentioned that, like road closures, bathrooms, just some of the basics that make people feel like I can stay here and I can trust being here. When someone walks into our church or an event hosted by our church, we can't have maybe the security and roads closed, but there are things we can do to make it seem like we intentionally thought about your safety and your experience. Because if they're not feeling those things, chances are they're not hearing the gospel. They're not making relationships. You're losing out the purpose of whatever that event is.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good stuff. Keep your list going.
Yeah.
Don't interrupt you.
No. So number 3 out of 6, and we just talked about this one, assemble a strong team. Yeah. Don't do it by yourself. So I'm not going to harp super long on this one because we already talked about it, but you have people in your church, in your ministry that you serve alongside of, that have talents and that have things that they're really good at, or things that maybe they're not super good at, but they're willing to learn to make it happen. Tap into those people. Who
are some of those people that you'd look for in an event to serve, just generally speaking? Yeah.
I'm always looking for people who are willing to just hop in and do the dirty work. That's taking out trash, making sure that if there's a spill, stuff is cleaned. You know, people that are just, and everybody has them. It's the people that in a service you say, hey, I need raise your hand if you can help me with this. And that person always raises their hands no matter what.
Or they just do it.
Or they just do it.
Yeah, they see it, they do it.
People that are doers. Big thing for church events, people that are people.
People movers.
Yeah. People that are greeters that just make people feel welcomed. And then a big one that a lot of people commonly overlook, but I think that is huge in any kind of event, are the people that like to be behind the scenes, that don't need the recognition. A lot of people, and this is a ministry thing, this is just a real world application thing, a lot of people love to be involved at these events if they're on the forefront. If they're on the front lines and they're being seen, oh, look, this person's volunteering, this person's doing this. Oh, it was so great that this person was an usher today. Really tap into the people that are like, hey, I'm just here to help because I love doing this, or I have a passion for this, or I just want to be involved, that don't always need the recognition. Because more times than not, those people will come back event after event after event after event, where, say, the greeter that is only there for the attention, if you don't give them praise and attention, they might not come back and do it again.
That's good.
So number 3, build a strong team. Remember, don't do it by yourself because you will burn yourself out. That's speaking from experience. Number 4, and this is something Not saying that Canvas is the best church ever in the world, but I'm kind of biased. But there's something that Canvas does very well. Shout out to Katie Limbo. Promote effectively. Promotion is huge. And like I said, this is not just a ministry thing. This is a outside world thing too. Don't be afraid to use a combination of medias, right? Everybody thinks now that social media is just the only push that people should do. There's a stat, and I could be wrong, that only 32% of Americans spend time on social media daily. Wow. If you think about that.
I would not have guessed that number.
Right. So if only 32% of your community is on social media and that's the only avenue you're pushing, what's happening to the other 62% of your community?
68.
68. Did I say 32 or 38%?
You said 32.
68%. Yeah. Sorry. Quick math.
You broke Richard's math brain for a second.
Yeah, I did. I did.
Like, who are the other 8%?
Yeah.
Whatever. You see me computing?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, look, this is social media. It's flyers, it's newsletters, it's door knockers, it's radio,
yard signs,
word of
emails.
mouth. That's a huge one. Take flyers and go to your local coffee shop and pin them everywhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? The more effectively and the broader reach that you have on your marketing, the better return that you're going to have.
What are some good date range benchmarks for event advertising? Like, how early should you be promoting an event?
That's
there's some conditions.
Yeah, that's a loaded one. So, for example, I'll take Maryland Folk Festival. This is the 45 to 65,000 person event. It's a 3-day music festival. We start teasing promotion for that. It happens the third weekend in September every year. We start teasing promotion around February or March.
Yeah.
And that's just like,
so you're 8 months out.
8 months in advance. Hey, we're getting ready. And then we'll promote hey, our volunteer registration is open. Our vendor registration is open. Towards April and May, we start rolling out.
That chair is so bad. I'm sorry, Chris.
We start rolling out artist announcement to get people excited.
Yeah.
If you're doing a smaller event, we do a
50-person, 100-person event.
Right. If we do a 1,500-person event, we'll take one of our concerts, for example, that we do. They start in May. We will start promoting those beginning of April.
Gotcha. About a month out?
About a month out. And it's a weekly post. And then 2 weeks out, we do 3 to 4 posts a week. And then a week leading up to it, it's a post every single day.
Gotcha.
And that's the thing, your post, your social media, that's where you can get creative with your marketing, because you can make the post do or say or feel how you want. Your things that are print, like your flyers and stuff, that is just a very generic, here's the time, here's the day, here's the location. You really can't change that kind of stuff. Yeah. So you have to think strategically about your marketing and how you're going to grab certain demographics.
Yep. So the bigger the event, typically the longer the runway for promotion. The smaller events, you can get away with a little bit less.
Yeah, 100%.
But you're still a month out on your smaller side of events.
Yep. Yeah, at least a month.
So we used to do pop-up events at our church. We still do, where we would literally not advertise a block party and we just put a yard sign up on Monday. Hey, Thursday we'll be here for free dinner and the bounce house for your family. But the market was that, right? It was the people that I got nothing to do tonight.
Let's just go to it.
It's in the neighborhood. We drive by it. Let's just go to it. But so I guess probably the purpose of the event really does dictate the promotional schedule.
Right.
It's good.
All right. Number 5 of 6. We're getting there. And this is a big one that most people don't do. And this is probably one of the most important, is always to prepare for the unexpected. And I will say, if you are in a church building and you have a dedicated location, you don't have to worry about things like weather. Yeah. Weather's a big one if you're having an outdoor event. Always prepare for the unexpected, especially Eastern Shore, Maryland weather. It could be a beautiful, bright, sunny day, and then in a minute you could have torrential downpours and high winds. Yep. And never shows up on a radar.
Chris will tell you, he's heard me say a million times, I hate outdoor events.
Yeah. And that's my entire life.
So many unknowns. Yeah.
I mean, that's my entire...
But every city event pretty much is
majority of our church plant events were outside. And they still are outside. We have an Easter egg hunt, a big Easter egg hunt coming. This episode will probably get posted after Easter, but we are planning the big Easter egg hunt. And
ours got rained out last year.
We had stuff 6,000 eggs one year, 2020. We were early March 2020. We were ahead of the game, stuffed 3,000 eggs, and then all of a sudden COVID hit and shut everything else. I can't really plan for that unexpected, but you had to pivot. But this year, like we know, if it does rain, we've actually rented the indoor gym as a backup plan. We actually have balloons we're going to blow up and make like a balloon pit egg hunt thing. So we have a backup plan for outside weather. So so plan for the unexpected.
Plan for the unexpected. You know, if you're doing something where you have live music, say you have a band coming to perform, always plan for a sit call. Have music ready to go. Have an MP3 player loaded with a playlist for the length of your event.
Okay.
I mean, simple, small things like that go a long way. Another thing, and this is prepare for the unexpected. Prepare for unexpected costs. You know, it always happens that people will show up to an event, and the number one thing that people always do is like, oh yeah, I have a helium tank that I used for a birthday party last year for my kids. That will have enough helium to blow up balloons.
Yeah.
And they come and the helium tank blows up 3 balloons, and they bought 150 balloons to blow up. And now they're scrambling because they don't have a way to do it. These are just small little things, but always prepare for that unexpected cost of whatever. Always have a contingency in your budget.
Or that unexpected need. Like because we do a lot of outreach events, I don't mean to take your thunder here for this conversation, but we actually started to assign a runner role for every event we do. That's someone, their whole job
is to just be on standby, have the car keys ready. I need something, go buy it.
Oh, shoot, our generator doesn't have enough gas for this whole event or whatnot. Yeah, your whole job is just to go get the stuff that we realized when we started setting up because you just like, as much as you have a detailed checklist, things get moved, things get funny places, and you're like, where did that thing go? So yeah, having a runner for the unexpected.
And the biggest part of prepare for the unexpected is if that unexpected thing happens, stay flexible and stay calm. There's nothing worse than, you know, you're leading a team in an event and something just flies off the rails, and then you're the leader and you start to panic, and then everybody else on your team starts to panic.
So, true story. One of the first movie nights we hosted as a church, we were partnering with a school, hosted an outdoor movie night. There were probably 400 people there waiting for the movie to start. So it's not a small event, but not a huge event. The remote didn't have batteries to start the DVD player. Like everything else was testing and working. You could see the movie on the screen, but it was one of those DVD players you couldn't like start without the remote. So like, I was getting super anxious, and I'm not normally that person, but I think I snapped at my wife, not in a bad way, like not like a disqualifying, but like I was testy in front of 400 people with my wife, just trying to get her to go home and get batteries for me. That just takes away the credibility of both you as the pastor, the church. We got it working. I don't know that many people noticed, but like, yeah. Stay calm. Don't do things like snap at your wife.
Right. Stay flexible. It's always going to happen. And then number 6. So you do 1 through 5, you have a solid event. Everything runs smoothly. You don't have to do a backup plan. You don't have to go into your contingency budget. Everything is good to go. Number 6 is follow up and evaluate. Sit down with your team. Talk about what went good. Talk about what went bad. Talk about future ideas. What could be changed? What could be done to make life easier if you plan on doing this event again? And the other thing to do, and we do this at all of our events, is we follow up with the actual people who come to the event. We have like feedback surveys that we will send that people can scan a QR code for. They get entered into a drawing for a $25 gift card just for participating in the event. But then we also get the consumer's feedback, because a lot of the time you don't get that after an event. Everybody just runs off and vanishes. Well, I think they had a good time. I don't really know.
You'll know next year if they come back.
Right. But yeah, always follow up and evaluate with the team that you're working with and with the consumers that come to the event.
That's good. And I think for a church, that's even more important, because like you're not just trying to have a cool event so your city is known and, you know, makes the constituents happy, but like in a church, when you're hosting events, there is probably a discipleship or some sort of spiritual goal at the end of this.
You're either trying to get people connected to God's kingdom or grow them in faithfulness to Jesus and His kingdom.
So like you're not just doing an Easter egg hunt or a movie night. You're actually trying to build a long-term relationship. So I think follow-up is probably, I don't know that I would ever like, I mean, obviously I would do an event without follow-up depending on the event, but like I really don't think we put enough thought into who's following up and how we're following up and what that looks like. You do all this work on the front end, and that really is just half the process for the church. So yeah, having something direct. I appreciate that. Those are some 6 really good ways to plan good events. Hey, tell us before we close out, tell us a funny story of an event that has gone wrong that will not get you fired or the church in trouble, but like give us a funny story that's like, that'll just make us all laugh because of bad events.
I mean, I don't know if it's if it's funny, but it's probably like the
we can
worst.
find anything funny.
It's probably the biggest fail, not even a fail. It's just the worst thing that could have happened to an event. Was 2 years ago during the Maryland Folk Festival, the music festival that we put on. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. Friday, we have one stage open. We have a small section of food vendors open just to kind of get people into the feel. Saturday is the biggest day. We have 4 stages going from noon until 9:30 at night. A family area, 15, 16 food trucks, a marketplace. Like Saturday is the day. And then Sunday, we minimize it to like 2 stages, part of the family area. So, we kind of like scale it based on what day. And the Friday night of the festival ended. People had a great time. We're looking forward to a great Saturday. And all of a sudden, the mayor issues a state of emergency for the state of Maryland for a potential hurricane that was coming through. And we had to cancel our Saturday of our festival, which was our big day. And,
a potential hurricane.
For a potential hurricane. Because state of emergency, you can't hold an event, whether, if the weather's beautiful or not, just because that's where you are. And we literally had to cancel a Saturday of the festival for nothing. It was like sunny and 73, a little bit of breeze, like perfect weather for
and people are probably showing up, right? Because they don't know it's a state of emergency. They just think it's nice outside.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, so we had to have paid staff on site to like kick people off of the premises on a beautiful day because we literally couldn't hold an event. So yeah, I would probably say that was probably like the biggest blunder that we've had.
It's not funny.
It's not funny. It's not. But like looking back on it,
I wanted a poop story or something.
Yeah, and we don't, look. I run a tight ship, so I don't have many of those.
He's mentioned porta potties a lot of times in here. Like this is a thing.
What's the worst you've ever seen a porta potty after an event?
Oh, good thing I don't have to clean them. I just go and throw locks on them afterwards. I don't even open up the doors. But we've had kids that have flipped porta potties before.
No more access.
Yeah. We had kids that pulled a prank on another kid. He was in the porta potty, and they came up and flipped it with him inside of it.
Did he get hurt?
No, he didn't get hurt. He just got covered in everything that was in the porta potty.
Was it pee-pee and poo-poo?
Oh, yeah.
That's slightly more funny than a state of emergency.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, but then, that's not anything I can prevent.
Not for that kid.
Like
though.
I said, we run a tight ship.
You cannot prevent a state of emergency.
You can't prevent kids being punks and flipping a porta potty with their friend in it.
You can expect that, actually.
You can expect it. Yes.
You never know what you're going to get in episode planning, especially in church context. Because honestly, episode planning, yeah, it's been a long day of recording. This is our 8th or 9th episode we've recorded. I also think that there is a spiritual component here for churches. When we're planning events, we are trying to connect people to Jesus.
Yeah.
And so it's not just logistics. Like we're praying, we are doing there is kingdom battle for our events.
So
yeah, dude, I'm done. We need to make sure we're doing our part as best we can to plan well so that we can serve Jesus and show people Jesus. Sound good to you?
That sounds good. Hey, this has been the Ministry Mix podcast. If you enjoyed this show, would you go ahead and leave a review, share it with a friend? And hey, if you have questions or have ideas, maybe there's something that Chris didn't say. Chris is a student and always willing to grow. Comment it on commented.
You're tired too.
Comment it on one of our social media posts. And yeah, for now, that's Ministry Mix. See you later.
Bye.